Why does Gears of War E-Day finally feel like Gears again? After watching the reveal, I think I've found the answer. And surprisingly, I don't think it's Marcus. I don't think it's Dom. I don't think it's the graphics. In fact, I think there's one thing the Coalition finally understands about Gears of War, and it's the reason E-Day already feels different. We'll come back to that in a minute. Because before we get there, we need to talk about what stood out from the reveal itself. The first thing that hit me was the atmosphere. For years, Gears has been known for chainsaws, cover shooting and huge battles. But that's not what made the original trilogy special. What made Gears special was the feeling, the tension, the fear, the sense that humanity was hanging on by a thread. And watching the E-Day reveal, that's exactly what I felt again. The burning cities, the collapsing streets. This doesn't feel like a world that's been fighting for years. This feels like a world that's just realised it's losing. And that's exactly what Emergence Day should feel like. Because E-Day isn't another battle in the war. It's the day the war begins, the day everything changes, the day humanity discovers the Locusts aren't coming, they're already here. And for the first time in a long time, the Locusts don't feel like enemies. They feel like a disaster, a force of nature, something nobody was prepared for. That's a huge part of why the reveal landed so well. But there was something else that stood out, Marcus and Dom. Because let's be honest, the Coalition could have made this reveal all about action. Bigger explosions, bigger monsters, bigger weapons. Instead, they kept bringing us back to these two characters. And I don't think that's accidental. Because when people talk about the original Gears trilogy, they don't just talk about gameplay, they talk about Marcus and Dom. The friendship, the loyalty, the sacrifices, the moments that made you care about people fighting the war. Marcus and Dom aren't just fan favourites. They're the emotional heart of Gears of War. We already know where their story ends, but E-Day gives us the chance to see where it really began. Before the scars, before the losses, before years of war turned them into legends. And that's why seeing them together again feels so important. But now let's come back to that thing I mentioned at the start. The reason E-Day feels different. The reason it feels like Gears again. I don't think the Coalition is trying to make a bigger Gears game. I think they're trying to make a more human one. Think about it. The original trilogy wasn't really about chainsaws, it wasn't really about giant monsters, and it wasn't really about winning. It was about ordinary people trying to survive impossible circumstances. It was about brotherhood, loss, sacrifice. Humanity fighting a war it wasn't prepared for, and everything we've seen from E-Day feels built around those ideas. And that's why I think the Coalition finally understands. They don't need to reinvent Gears, they need to remember what made it special. And if they've genuinely figured that out, then E-Day isn't just another prequel. It could be exactly what the franchise needs right now. Now don't get me wrong, a great reveal doesn't guarantee a great game. The gameplay still has to deliver, the story still has to deliver, everything still has to come together. But for the first time in a very long time, I'm genuinely optimistic about the future of Gears of War. Because after watching E-Day, it feels less like the Coalition is trying to create a new version of Gears, and more like they're trying to remember the people that fell in love with it in the first place. And honestly, that might be exactly what this franchise needed. But what did you think? Did the E-Day reveal win you over, or are you still waiting to see more before getting excited? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Gears and Xbox content.